Okay, so it looks like we are live. Hi, everybody. Hello, everybody. So I just want to double check and make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do. Yes, there we go. We're live. I see it.
All
Hello, and
right.
welcome to anyone and everyone. If you're watching live or if you're watching the replay, it's funny when I started thinking about this and working on this, I had all these ideas. It was going to be bells and whistles and all this kind of stuff, and I just ran out of time. And I didn't let that stop me, because the point is for us to have a conversation with my amazing guest. I should have her name up there, but I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see her name, but it's okay. So, and I think I'm going to say it right this time. Teresa.
You got it. Just like free, Teresa.
Teresa. So little secret is I've been saying her name Tresa for the last probably 3 years wrong. But anyway.
Well, trust me, it looks like Tresa, and you were definitely not the only one. And I just answer to it. It doesn't even bother me because it looks like Tresa.
Yes, you did. You answered to it for a long time before you said anything. So, welcome to you. If you're watching live, thank you so much for joining us. Hello, Verna. I see you, Verna Nickelberry. I see you watching. Hello, you're watching from YouTube. Awesome, wonderful. I can kind of see who's commenting in the comments here. So I really want to jump in and have this conversation. So welcome, Teresa, to Iconic Women Rock. It's a live stream podcast, I'm calling it, where I want to sit and have conversations with some of the best, most brilliant, iconic women that I know. And I had the absolute pleasure of meeting Teresa 3 years ago, I believe it was. I think it was 2018. I had the pleasure of meeting her, and it has been such a blessing to um, to have worked with her, to have been watching her. And I really don't want to steal the thunder, So I want you to just share with everyone who you are, and they might know who you. They might not realize that they know who you are already, and because we see her ads running for her women's real estate investment association. So tell us, just give us the little skinny on that, and then we'll jump into
Okay.
conversation.
Well, first of all, I just am honored and thank you, Cheryl. I'm so honored. I met you in Tampa. I lived in Tampa for 10 months, and that's where I got to know you. And you did my very, very, very first strategy. I'm sorry, branding strategy. Didn't even hardly know what the words meant. And but you helped me, and I still use those same colors and so much of what we did together way back then when this was just an idea. So if I just back up a little bit, I was in the medical profession for 25 years as a certified ophthalmic assistant in Tyler, Texas. Never thought I would leave. Never thought I thought I would die, doing that thing. Living paycheck to paycheck, really. It was a good life, and I'd worked my way up. I was as high as I could go. There was really, other than a 4% raise every year, that was it for me. And I didn't know anything else. But I have three amazing sons, and they were in Dallas, and they had become real estate investors. And they found their calling, they found their niche, they were killing it. And they were working together. So as a mama, when your kids are working together and they're not killing each other, that makes you
Right.
proud. And so all along the way, they were saying, Mom, you need to come do this with us. You need to come do this. And every single time I'd say, I'll think about it. But I wasn't thinking about it. I was 50 years old. I was like, it was overwhelming to think about leaving a career at 50 years old and starting something new. It sounded too complicated for me
Mm.
anyway. And I was just very content being their cheerleader. And finally, it's a long story. I won't go into that. They finally talked me into it. Um, and so I literally, but one really quick thing, I not only in the medical field, but I was very much involved in ministry, and that's my passion. So that year, it was 2017, and I had decided that I was teaching a Bible study out of the book of Joshua, and Joshua 1:9 says, "Have I not commanded you to be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." And as I was
Joshua
teaching,
1:9. Joshua 1:9. Wow, that's
yes,
powerful.
it is. Have I not commanded you? He's not suggesting it.
Yeah.
He's saying, "I've commanded you to be strong and courageous." Well, as I was teaching that for 12 weeks, it got on the inside of me. And
Mhm.
I laugh and say that if I die and they did an autopsy, I think Joshua 1:9 is engraved on my heart. That is my life scripture from the rest of my life. And I started to say, okay, every decision I make from here on out, I'm going to do the bravest thing. I'm going to.
Mhm.
And so I thought, I was making some of those hard phone calls and having some of those hard conversations. And I was sure that God was so proud of me. That was the hard things, those were the brave things that I was doing. Little did I know that that was in January when I started teaching that. And April 1st, on April Fool's Day, I left my job of 25 years, left my career, moved to Dallas to become a real estate investor. And it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. It was crazy. I loved it. I was working with my sons. And the first thing I realized is I went to all of these networking events. There were no men. I was like, where are all the women? And so I was here. Then we went to Tampa. And a whole reason to go to Tampa is my son had tons of mentors in Florida. So that was one of the reasons. And he was going to teach real estate in Tampa. And I was just going along. Well, then somehow or another, it was my oldest son. I kept complaining 97% of real estate investors are men. And I kept thinking, where are all the women? My whole passion in life was inspiring and empowering women. And now I have learned this new tool that could change women's life. And there were no women around. So my oldest son said, "Mom, why don't you start a women's real estate investors network?" So that started rolling around in my head. I was like, well, but I didn't think I was ready. I mean, I'd only been doing it 18 months when I was in
Mhm.
Tampa, and I wasn't prepared. I just, however, so we came back to Dallas, and literally, Cheryl, I just declared myself the founder of the Women's Real Estate Investors Network and said, we're having our very first meeting on August the 28th at 6 p.m. at my office. And I didn't even know if anybody would show up. I didn't know if women wanted to be investors, but I didn't have money for marketing at that time. I didn't have ads. I just went to a few networking meetings and told everybody what I was doing. And that first night, 40 women showed up. And that was the beginning. We just kept growing and growing and growing. And then when COVID hit, we literally had to shut down all of our live events. By this time, we had grown. We were doing live events all over the Metroplex, all the way to Houston, and we had to close everything down. And I knew that women needed it more now than they had ever needed it before. I mean, people were losing their 401ks, they were losing their jobs, and so we went online. I started teaching it online. And the very first online training I had 699 women.
699 women on the very
699
first online training.
online training. And I kept telling my team, you couldn't have got one more so we could say we had 700. One more person.
Wait, did you count yourself? Did you count yourself?
I didn't count myself. But I just, so my largest one was in September of this year, and we had 8,800 women. 8,800. I just finished one literally this week, and we had about 7,000 women coming through. So women did want to learn. But Cheryl, what I wanted to say is going way back, like having that first meeting, I didn't know what I was doing. I was scared to death. I was shaking. I was like, they're going to ask me questions that I don't know the answers to because I'd only had 18 months experience. I didn't know all the answers, but I knew that I knew something that could change these women's lives and we could do it together. And so I would just teach what I knew. Thankfully, I had 3 sons and they were in the background. And when somebody asked a question that I didn't know, I'd be like, you want to come on up here? I remember that first meeting too. I didn't even think it through. I just got the cookies and invited women. And what I was in my office, and what I hadn't even thought through is that this meeting started at, I don't know, 6:30. Well, at 6 o'clock, the elevators quit working in my building. So all of these women that were trying to come were standing down there. They couldn't get in. So I didn't have help. I didn't have an employee. I didn't have anything. I was running up and down the steps to let people in. I mean, running up and down, opening the elevator, letting them in, coming back, teaching. It was a disaster. It was humiliating. It was a disaster. But that women liked the content. They were, it didn't matter. And that's what I just wanted to share is it doesn't matter where you are. You're never going to feel like it's time that you know enough and you're going to fail and you're going to, we didn't even have, I'm so technologically challenged. Like I said, I didn't have a staff. I had a piece of paper that I were having them write their names down on and their emails. Well, then when I went back and looked, I couldn't even read half of their emails. So I couldn't even create an email list. I mean, and we gradually grew and we got better and we got our first employee and then we got our second. Now I have 36 employees and it's just amazing. So the thing is, do not despise small beginnings. Yeah. And just do it. Have I not commanded you to be brave? I know that God has put something in every single woman. He's given us gifts. He's given us talents, and he wants us to use those. It says he is the one that gives us the ability to create wealth. And he's given us something that if we will take that talent, that gift, just like you have this amazing ability to brand women. And you took that talent and you are now, I mean, look at me. I'm using those same things that we did together at your house.
Yes.
When I was in Tampa, when it was nothing. I'd never had my first meeting. It was just something I was going to do. Do you remember this?
Oh, I remember.
Cheryl, I think when I get to Dallas, I'm going to start this thing. And we talked about hotels and we talked about all those things. And you helped me put the idea together and gave me some colors. And I came back with that little color scheme. And we just have grown with that.
Listen, I remember that day. Actually, it came 2 different times. The first time was like the discovery, and we just talked about it, and we, it was like a brain dump. And then I took that and said, okay, let's put something together for you to take with you because you were leaving shortly after. So you came back, I delivered the document to you. And I do remember it being an idea, and all the things that you said, I think, and I want, but I knew what you were creating was going to be really powerful because of the vibe that you were creating just in our conversation. I'm like, women are going to love this. They're going to eat it up. But little did we know.
That is so true. I still cannot believe it.
Yeah, and this is the power, and this is why I was talking to someone yesterday, and I was saying this is the reason why I am such a voice and an advocate for really digging in and doing the type of brand work that we do, because it's not just about creating colors and a color palette and a logo. It's about really creating an experience that is true and authentic to who you are, that comes from an authentic place that you can really get behind, that you feel real good about, even though you're like, I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm sure, but listen, this is it. This is the thing. And I know it's the thing. And,
Uh-huh.
and when you do that work, when you really get in there and do that work and you stick to it no matter what.
Yes.
Because you
When you're,
definitely could have given up that first
oh
time.
my,
That first, you could have been like, oh, wait, hold on, hold on.
and then here's the truth is, as I had gotten out and networked for those 40 people. But you know what? Then there were weeks after that when I had 7 people, and then 4, and then maybe 20. And then, so it wasn't always like, oh, I started out with 40 and it grew. I mean, it was up and down. And there were times that I didn't even, I would have to pray that I would, because then as we grew, we had to get hotels that are expensive. And I didn't even know how I was going to pay for those. There were
Mm,
times that I would be up there teaching and praying that I made some money before the hotel charged me. I mean, but God always came through. He always made a
mhm,
way. And
mhm.
so, you just have to start, and you have to have a lot of faith, and you have to believe. And you said it is, we just have to know that God has given us this thing and just charge ahead in the good times and the bad times and the hard times, when you have people that like you, when you have people that don't like you, when you have all the things, you just have to be focused and keep going. You'll have a
Yeah.
million reasons to quit.
So, since starting your women's real estate investment network, since you started that, is that the only, like, is teaching women how to invest in real estate the only thing that you do, or do you do, what else do you do?
Well, obviously, I invest. So I have rentals and I flip properties and I have short term rentals and all the things, all things investment. But, and then when I started teaching real estate, I was insecure. I was scared. So I was just doing it very timidly. Well, my passion had always been my faith. But I wasn't sharing my faith too much in the beginning because I didn't, I was afraid that people wouldn't want that. But and then what I found as I was growing is that even though I was I'm making more money than I've ever made in my life, I wasn't content. And
Mhm.
once I began to gradually start sharing my faith as I was teaching real estate, because that's who I really am, and and yes, it offended a few people, but what I learned is those aren't my people. But I was speaking to the people that needed that, because women are full of fear and we need confidence. And so part of what I love to do along with teaching real estate is inspire women that they can do this, that they can do hard things, that they can do brave things, to not give up, because it's not easy to do, all the things that we do. I mean, it doesn't matter if you work at Dillard's or at the gas station, or if you're building brands for women, or if you're a real estate investor. Every single day of what you do is hard. So why not choose your hard?
Yeah.
Choose your hard, because everything we do is hard. I mean, there's going to be hard days and bad days. So let's go out there and find something that is worth the hard. That's worth the hard. And so now, I don't know if that was really the question that you're asking, but what I do now, and we have multiple businesses, and that's one of the things about investing, is once you start investing, it opens up so many doors and opportunities for other businesses. So yeah, we have our own finance company, because we're helping women inside the network finance with hard money loans some of their deals. So it keeps on going and going. But yes, my 2 passions are teaching real estate investing, as well as inspiring women, reminding them that they have a God who wants them blessed, who wants them prosperous, and that He will be with them during the hard times, during the dark times. And I, I mean, I just got a notice. I have a group of ladies that came through a training of mine in a group came in December and a group came in January. Well, they built a mastermind around that. 12 women got together. They built a mastermind. And I just got a notice yesterday that they had their, I think it's their third mastermind group in Las Vegas this past weekend. And they added it up. And those 12 women have done $20 million worth of real estate deals since January of last year.
$20 million.
$20 million between 12 women.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on a high for these women. And God wants to bless them, prosper them, and now they're making a difference, and they're building this legacy for their families, and supporting ministries and nonprofits. And I don't know, Cheryl, I could talk. I'll shut up and let you ask some questions, but
no, this is good. I mean, folks are like, this is good. It's powerful. And so it's since you're talking about the impact that your business and what you're doing in the world is having on women, I mean, $20 million, that's nothing to sneeze at, right? So I noticed you use without fear for her future. How did that come about?
Oh my. So when we decided that we were going to go online and teach this, we needed a name. And so at that point, I had 3 employees, and I'm in business with 2 of my sons, my 2 youngest sons. And so we needed a name, and we had this group text message going on about, what's the name of this thing going to be? And so everybody that had an idea would throw that idea out there, and nothing felt good. And I will never forget it. I was in my office, and I actually have it. It's hanging on the wall right here in front of me. This plaque that somebody had given me, and it says, "She is clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of her future." And this was April of 2020. I mean, this is right after the world fell apart. Right. And when my eyes fell on that thing that had been hanging in my office for probably a year. And I just knew without a shadow of a doubt, I grabbed my phone and I wrote in that text message, I said, "Oh, I have my name. It is without fear of her future." I can teach women how in 2 ways, not one, Cheryl, but in 2 ways. First of all, let's not fear your financial future. I can teach you a skill where you can go out there and make money. But I want to share Jesus with you. I want you to know that you don't have to fear your future.
Right.
And so that was it. I think, and I'll tell you, I got a lot of hit back from that. Like my professional mentors were like, "Oh, I don't know. That's too Bible-y, and that's not, and it does, nobody even knows what it means." I was like, "That's okay. That's okay. We'll have a tagline." So it was, "She laughs without fear of her future," and then Women's Real Estate Investors Network, underneath it. Well, it's worked. I'm sticking with it.
Obviously, it has definitely worked. So you're online now, and you just had 7,000 women go through your challenge. Talk to us a little bit about the challenges and how they worked for you. I've noticed you've done a few of them, and I noticed that it is a very popular method.
Yes.
But what's your end game for doing the challenges?
Okay, so another really cool part of that story is I had no idea what a challenge was, and I don't call mine a challenge now. I call it a master class, but in the world, if you're familiar with it, it's a challenge. And I had gone through my very first challenge in January of 2020. So January is always a year, like God marks something. I can't wait. January. I don't know what's next, but it was January of 2020. So I was having live events. And I don't know if you're familiar with Pedro Adao.
Absolutely, I am. Yeah.
He teaches how to have challenges. Well, I went through his challenge called 31 Days of Wisdom that January of 2020. And I was just going because I just signed up because it was like hey, what better way to start out going through the book of Proverbs, 31 days of wisdom, great way to start my new year. Well, I didn't know that he was going to sell me something in there, you know. So he was advertising how he could teach you how to have a challenge. And I didn't even understand what a challenge was at the time. I was crazy busy having live events, but I knew that I was supposed to go to his event. And I literally had to, within 5 days, I had to fly out and go to and attend this 3-day seminar that he was doing. And I learned. And I had, look here, this is my notebook. I took this with me, just a girl boss building her empire.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
And I took this notebook and I like wrote down the notes of every single thing that he was saying about having a challenge. And I came home and I threw that book in a cabinet and went right back to having my live events. And my sons, y'all, it cost me $15,000 to go learn how to have a challenge. And my kids and everybody was like, "What'd you spend $15,000 on?" I'm like, "I don't know. I couldn't even explain what a challenge was." They thought I'd lost my mind. Well, when the whole world closed down, I ran in my cabinet and I got that notebook and I said, "We're going online. All the answers are right here in this little notebook." And my team started devouring that notebook. And we learned how to have a challenge. So it's 7 days. Now, you can do them different, but mine is 7 days. And I teach for about 2 to 2.5 hours every night. I teach all the strategies, how to find these deals, how to fund these deals, all of the things. And so at the end of that, you really have enough information that you could go out there and be a real estate investor. I literally give you everything you need. However, I have created a mentorship. So for those that want a little more hand holding, I have created this mentorship where they can come. They can come to 8 coaching calls a week. We have a network. We have our Empire Financing Company where they can get funding for all of their deals. There's a training that has all the strategies, all my resources, and all of that. So I'm so thankful and so proud of what we have created. Every single thing that I knew that you would need as an investor, I created in this training and provided this amazing network. I have over 2,000 women in that network, and they do deals together. They partner together. They have these masterminds together, and it's crazy to watch their success and what they're doing.
All from one idea.
One idea.
All from one idea.
From my son saying, "Mama, why don't you start something for women? Because you're always whining. Where are all the women?"
Yes, yes, yes. I know for sure that this conversation is very powerful, and I know it has inspired women to see what's possible and what's possible at any age. So I had a question I wanted to ask, and of course it escaped me because I am of a certain age. And
I get it, girl. I get it.
But I know I wanted to make a comment around the idea that, so you spent $15,000 to go learn how to do a challenge, and that investment, I'm sure, has.
Well, I will tell you. I will tell you because I just went and spoke at Pedro's event for a couple of months ago. So it cost me $15,000, and by the end of this year, we will have hit $15 million in our business. I mean, what kind of ROI is that? I told Pedro, "I'll just give you money. I'm just going to give you money. This is the ROI that I'm going to get on."
Okay, so let's track here a little bit because I really want people to see this. I want them to get this. So 2018, you start with an idea, you're like, I'm not sure if it's going to work, but I'm doing it. You come to my house, we talk about it, we map it out, boom, you have a seed to start with, right?
Yeah.
Then you go on, you partner with your sons, you're doing these live events, the pandemic hits, you gotta pivot. You pivot to doing challenges because you had invested $15,000 to attend an event. And here you are, basically 3 years later, about to hit $15 million.
And I give God all the glory. I don't even know how it all happened. I don't
Well,
even
that's
know
what
how
faith is, though.
it all happened.
That's what faith is. Because
Yeah.
what I heard was, I heard faith, but I also heard bravery. I heard consistency. I heard like just jumping in and making an investment at a level that everybody else thought was crazy.
Mhm.
And I'm sure they don't think you're crazy now. Because now you have the capacity to reach more people
Yes.
by bringing your challenge, your masterclass.
Yeah.
I actually love masterclass. I love referring to it as a masterclass as well.
Yeah.
Doing your masterclass, and not only are you making money, and this is what I love about you and your story, because it's not about you making money, it's about you putting yourself out there and telling women, sharing women, teaching women everything they need to know to make their own money so they have no fear for their future.
Yes. 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 You can give a woman a fish or you can teach a woman to fish. And I feel
Yes.
like teaching women to fish that, I mean,
Yes.
they can, no matter what happens in the world, here's the deal. People are investing houses, property, that's people are always going to have. You either need some place to buy or some place to rent. And so it's always going to
Hmm.
be a thing. And
Hmm.
so once you have this skill, it can change your life from now on.
So let me ask you this question, and then we'll wrap up. We'll wrap it
Okay.
up. I mean, I could sit here and talk to you for like the longest time, um, and I think people they would just keep watching. They would just absolutely love it. Um, but tell me this: how much? And I'm asking this question for a reason. How much of your personal brand has played into your ability to grow your business into a multi-million dollar empire?
I am going to say that it's at least 50%. And I mean that with all my heart because here's the deal. I mean, obviously you've got to have something that you're teaching or doing, just like you have a skill for branding. But so much of it has to do with the person that you are, because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I mean, there's women that join out of the 7,000 women that just joined, and they show up the first night and they hear me throwing out a scripture here and there, and I mean, oh girl, and we live in the keyboard warrior. People are mean. They're like, I didn't sign up for church. I signed up to learn about real estate, and I'm like, bye. See ya. I'm like, it's okay. And I don't mean that in a harsh way at all. It's like,
Yes, yes, yes.
I mean, fortune builders can teach you what I'm teaching. Go right on over there and hop in his class. I am for a certain woman. I am
Mm.
because everything that I am. I mean, even this horrible accent, Cheryl, from Texas. I mean, there are some people that get on and they're like, I
It's
can't
not
listen.
horrible. I love your accent.
Well, not everybody feels that way. There's like, I can't listen to her for 7 days. And, but you just have to be authentic to who you are. And that's what I wasn't authentic when I first began. I was hiding my faith because I was too intimidated. But after a season, I lost my joy because I wasn't doing the thing that I was called to do. And I also was not helping as many women but when I started to add my faith in that element of who I really am,
Yes.
my authentic person is to tell you, no, you can't do it on your own, but you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. When I begin to add that authentic thing about me,
Mhm,
things begin to blow
mhm,
up. And
mhm,
again, no matter who you are, maybe your quirky ways or your accent or whatever, it's not for everybody, but it is for those that are going to connect with you, your real authentic self.
mhm.
Branding is everything. Even pink. I'm a pink girl. I love pink and I love femininity and I love all of that. And in the world, I had people telling me, well, um, you know, really you need to get away with from the pink because that's, women want to be powerful and pink is not powerful. I'm like, I'm not getting away. I love pink. I want pink and branding is going to be pink and I'm sticking with it. And
Mm-hmm.
and it works. It works. But,
Mm-hmm.
so don't, I mean, at the same time, be teachable and be coachable, but at the same time, know who you are and do not let anybody try to change who you are in your branding. You stick
Mm-hmm.
to it with everything in you because
Mm-hmm.
then you're living it out because you're going to have to live out your life on social media when you're in a position like this, just like you do. And if you will just be authentic, then it's real all the time. You're not pretending to be somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they see you in real life, that's not you.
Yeah, yeah. Because I tell people that inauthenticity is not sustainable.
That's
You
right.
can't sustain that for any length of time because at some point, it's going, like you said, it's like you weren't authentic,
Hmm.
when you first started. But once you shifted into being saying, hey, you know what? This is who I am. I'm a Jesus girl through and through. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's who I am. That's how I'm rolling. That's how I'm rocking. You know what I mean? Once you get to that place, I tell people, once you become really authentic and grounded in who God created
Yeah,
you to be, that's when you become an unstoppable force between
absolutely.
you and him together.
That's
He's
it.
like, okay, she gets it. She is who she is
Yeah,
being who I created her to be, you know, and then you're pulling on your own beliefs and your faith and your belief in God and all of those things. Well, now you become an unstoppable force.
yep, I
You
agree.
become an unstoppable force. And obviously, you definitely have. You are just getting started, And I told Teresa before we came on, I said, I've been basically what I've been writing is come here, Teresa, tell her story, how she took one idea and turned it into, I didn't, I think I might have said multi-million dollar empire. I can't remember, but how she turned it into a multi-million dollar empire. And if you didn't catch it, she says that she is now on track to make $15 million by the end of this year. Mind you, did we say she started this like in 2018?
Yep. August the 28th, 2018 was that very first live meeting.
Okay.
I
I'm
see a
telling you.
comment over here by Gigi. And Gigi is one of my coaches inside the women's ring. So I didn't know for sure if any of my girls were watching, but hell
Okay, well, welcome, Gigi, welcome, Gigi. Just so Gigi, so I absolutely love Teresa. I have since the day that I met her here in Tampa, and we met for coffee. I believe it was initially at a
we met
Starbucks.
through Steve Hopper. And I
Yes.
will tell you, my little stint that I had in Tampa was such a powerful time. I met some of the most lovely people in that little short time that I was there and that I'll never forget. And you were definitely one of them, Cheryl. Y'all were speaking into my heart when this was nothing but a little dream and helping me to believe in myself. And so I will never forget that. And I bless you for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. One thing I am so grateful to God for in terms of the gift is the gift to have the vision to see beyond what an individual might see about themselves. I tell people I'm not your typical brand strategist. You bring me an idea. I'm going to do everything that I can to pour into it in you so that you can become a multimillionaire. And I'm gonna make this last comment, and then I want you to let everyone know how they can continue to connect with you. And if you are interested in investing in real estate, here's your girl right here, live and in person, someone that I endorse highly, highly, highly endorse. And I really should stop segueing because every time I do that, I lose the original thought. Lose the original thought that I had. Oh my gosh. But in any event, it is such a pleasure. It was such a pleasure to have you here today. I started thinking about having these conversations in particular with women that I've worked with. I know what I was going to say. I knew if I kept talking, it would come back. You know, I am a real believer in the fact that, you know, you don't have to have accomplished certain things in order to help other people get started to accomplish what they want to do. I did a post about this a couple weeks ago because I remember reading about Serena Williams and her coach. And the coach that Serena Williams has, he never played pro.
Mm,
He never played pro.
yeah.
And he is like the coach for some of the top pro
Yes.
tennis players in the world. He
Yes.
runs a tennis, whatever they call it, school or academy or whatever in Paris, and he never went pro.
Yeah. I love it. That's right.
And when I read that, I was like, thank you, God. I needed that because I
Hmm.
know that there are women that I worked with that have soared well beyond what
Absolutely.
I've done to this point. But I did say, I remember saying in the post, I said, just do what God's called you to do. Keep showing up, be consistent, stay faithful, and you will reap the reward.
Hmm.
So
That's right.
thank you for coming and for sharing your incredible, incredible story. I really can't wait until you write a book, but that's a whole nother thing.
I have a book coming out in April titled
Yes, I didn't know that. That's
Our Future is the
wonderful.
title of the book. Yeah.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
So, guys, when the book is coming out, we'll make sure we have you back, Teresa.
Well, thank
Thank you
you.
so much for
Thank
joining
you
and
for
hanging
having me.
out with
God
us
bless you.
today. God
I
bless
bless all of
you.
your audience here today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And if there's anything I can do to continue to support you in this journey, do not hesitate to reach
Well,
out. Do
I
not
won't.
hesitate to
And
reach
I
out.
just want to say, if there's anybody watching and you need branding, you need to, figure it all out. Cheryl's your girl. I mean,
Thank you.
Cheryl's your girl. So
Thank you. Thank
do
you.
it.
Thank you.
Don't be
Thank
afraid. Jump out there. All right. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Take care. Enjoy your day, guys. Thank you all so much for thank you all so much. I let Teresa go. But thank you so much for joining, for watching. This is our first conversation that I'll be doing with iconic women that I love, that I know, that I believe have something to offer to this community. We were definitely blessed by Teresa sharing her story about how she took one idea, guys. She took one idea and turned it into literally, it turned into a multi-million dollar empire that she's on track to make $15 million in about 3 years. And it started as a seed. And if she said she branded herself. She was brave, and she started building a business with her sons. And she said she was not ready, she was not prepared, but at some point she declared who she was and she stepped into it fully. And that's what I inspire you to do. Get clear about who you are and what you want, and how you want to show up in the world, and stay connected, because I am so committed to just doing what I've been called to do in the world, and that is help women to do exactly what Tresa has done, to help you elevate your brand to icon status. I'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you all so much.